If you're thinking about buying the Weller WE1010NA soldering station, hold on a second because I've got some surprising truths to share that might just change your mind, or at least how you use it. This isn't your typical glowing review where everything sparkles like a fresh new tip. No, this is an honest deep dive. But here's what surprised me. The Weller WE1010NA, despite its powerful 70-watt rating and advanced temperature control, has some quirks and hiccups that could drive even the steeliest hand a little mad. So if you're a hobbyist or a professional looking to get reliable, fast, and precise soldering done, you'll want to stick around because today we're breaking down the real deal behind this highly rated station. Let's rewind a bit. Weller is a name almost synonymous with soldering, trusted by pros worldwide, but even giants stumble. The WE1010NA promises 40% more power than previous models, intuitive navigation, a standby mode that supposedly conserves energy, and password protection to lock your settings. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the twist. While the specs are impressive on paper, the actual user experience reveals some notable frustrations that aren't always obvious until you're a few hours deep into your project. Before you swipe that Amazon cart, let's unpack the good, the bad, and the why did that happen moments. First off, the power. With a 70W iron, the WE1010NA definitely heats up faster and offers stable temperature control within plus or minus 4 degrees F, that's about 2 degrees C, which is solid for delicate electronics work. That translates to less waiting around and more working, handy if you're on tight deadlines or trying to finish a weekend project before the in-laws arrive unexpectedly. However, here comes the kicker. Some users report that the temperature readings can be inconsistent, meaning what you set isn't always what you get on the soldering tip. This can lead to either cold joints or scorched components, which nobody wants, especially when working on expensive or tiny circuit boards. Now you might be thinking, a little inconsistency is acceptable in most tools. But in soldering, it's like trying to cook your steak blindfolded. You might overdo it or leave it raw. That's the problem with the WE1010NA's temperature stability claim when put to the test by real-world users. Add to that the ergonomics. The soldering iron feels a bit bulky with the heat-resistant silicone cable, which is designed for safety, but in practice, it sometimes gets in the way. If you've got small hands or need super precise movements, this could be a slight irritation. If you're wondering who this soldering station is really for, the answer is somewhat mixed. It markets itself toward vocational use and professionals needing a reliable station for everyday soldering tasks. But hobbyists can also take advantage of the power and features if they're prepared to deal with the learning curve and occasional uneven heat control. It's not quite the plug-and-play solution for absolute beginners, which is a slight irony considering the intuitive navigation touted by Weller. Here's an example. I was trying to tackle a DIY drone repair, and while the WE1010NA did heat up quickly and kept a pretty stable temperature, the grip got uncomfortable after a while. Plus, the display sometimes flickered, making it tricky to confirm whether I'd locked the temperature or accidentally set it off. It's a minor glitch, but when every second counts, that flicker can feel like the universe's way of testing your patience. So here's a question for you. Does speed and raw power outweigh comfort and ease of use? Let's talk features because this station does pack some bells and whistles worth mentioning. The standby mode and auto setback function are clever energy-saving options that kick in when you're away from the iron, which is thoughtful if you're environmentally conscious or simply forgetful. Hand raised. Password protection of settings is another uncommon but neat feature that's great for workshop environments where you want to prevent accidental changes. Think of it as the Do Not Disturb sign for your soldering station. That said, some users found the menu navigation a bit clunky despite its intuitive design. Navigating through temperature presets, standby modes, and password settings on a small screen isn't the smoothest ride, especially if you're in the middle of a complex solder. The frustration of wrestling with buttons instead of wires might just inspire you to switch to a manual soldering iron. Blasphemy, I know, but true. Now, it wouldn't be a proper review without addressing durability. Weller has a reputation for robust build quality, and the WE1010NA mostly delivers. The heat-resistant silicon cable is sturdy and safe. The iron sits securely in its safety rest, which includes a sponge for tip cleaning, and the supplied ETA tip is standard but effective. I can't count the number of times I've dropped a soldering iron in frustration or boredom, but this one held up well. However, be prepared to invest some time in maintaining your tips because even the best tips wear out. The replacement isn't the cheapest, but luckily, Weller's tips are widely available. By now, you may be thinking, okay, that sounds decent, but is it worth $138.12? Let's just say that if you're looking for premium industrial-grade soldering performance with absolute perfection, you might want to look elsewhere, or at least be ready to manage some minor annoyances. But if your projects demand a quick heat-up, solid wattage, and some smart safety features without breaking the bank, this station delivers good bang for your buck. Also, the 4.7-star rating on Amazon with hundreds of users loving it tells you it's not all smoke and mirrors. Maybe a little humor will help. That silicon cable is heat-resistant all right, but heavier than my Uncle Joe's birthday cake. Or the password protection feature is great if you've got techno-thieves at home. Otherwise, forgetting your password is the fastest way to test your memory. Spoiler, I'm still locked out, and the flickering display gave me that paranormal activity vibe during late-night soldering sessions. Last joke, why did the soldering iron break up with the circuit board? It said things were getting too heated. So what's the final verdict? The Weller WE1010NA is a solid mid-range soldering station for those who appreciate functional power with some smart features that prioritize safety and energy efficiency. It's ideal for hobbyists looking to level up their workspace and professionals who don't mind a bit of a learning curve and occasional quirks in exchange for faster heating and reliable temperature control most of the time. It's not perfect, but very few tools ever are. Remember, soldering is as much an art as a science. Even with a fancy station like the WE1010NA, mastery comes from practice, patience, and a good tip cleaner. That's where the included pH 70 safety rest with sponge shines. Plus, Weller's customer service and replacement parts availability make living with this tool easier than some in the market. If you want to grab the Weller WE1010NA and experience it for yourself, check out the link in the description for the best price on Amazon. It's a smart investment whether you're repairing gadgets, building drones, or diving into any electronics project. Just go in knowing the strengths and the little quirks, so you won't be caught soldering in the dark. Thanks for watching and happy soldering.